and lo and behold, I haven't looked at them for the last hour, and the NASDAQ is thriving. I mean, it's crazy up today again. And what the heck could be going on in this world? Well, sometimes I try to turn to people that are not on our program regularly and get another opinion about what is going on. And today we have available to us is Harry J. Abrahamsen. He is the founder and the CEO of Abrahamsen-Financial Group. And they do customized wealth management solutions, just like many of our other clients do. But Harry is not one of our clients yet, but maybe someday. Harry, how are you, sir?
Hey, great, Dan. Thanks for having me on the show.
Well, it's great to hear another voice out there. I seek to understand, and now just briefly reading the stock market today, they say that, well, maybe the NASDAQ is going up on the fact that unemployment claims are slowing. There's still an awful lot of unemployment out there, Harry.
Yeah, there really is. I mean, there's going to be, the numbers are coming out, and, they're anticipating, I guess, close to 20%. And the markets are just, very volatile, going up and going down. And it's going to be an interesting ride for the rest of this year, for sure. Yeah.
So the stock market has gone up markedly here, and where we thought that, oh my goodness, we're going to have a lot of volatility. We haven't had it so much in the last month. But what are the stocks that are driving the market right now?
Well, you have to take a look at, depending on what you're looking to accomplish, short-term or long-term, right? So if you look at some of the stocks that are out there, some of the obvious ones like Amazon have done unbelievably well. They're at an all-time high, Other stocks that people are using, like right now, Zoom is another platform that's kind of adapted. They're doing really well. So, these stocks here just really depends. If, you want to be in for the long haul, like an Amazon or a Zoom, I think are going to be, good stocks to look at.
So when you see the stock market going up, isn't this kind of a non-starter with all the unemployment we have and with the uncertainty of businesses being closed? Is there no correlation between the stock market and the real economy? The real economy is not very good, is it?
Well, the real economy right now, when you look at the amount of stimulus that was produced, over $5 trillion, right, within a 3-day period of time. That's 25% of GDP, which is tremendous, Unemployment's going to be high. There's another element kind of happening right now a little bit with the stock market, which is artificial intelligence. There's a lot of that being used right now with various algorithms. So I think for the regular investor, they have to really just be aware and conscious of some of the dynamics, because the economy itself, we've never been through something like this before, with the amount of stimulus that was produced in that short a period of time. And then, of course, now just looking at the next, what is the next rest of the year going to look like from businesses staying open or being able to sustain themselves.
So if you had if the coronavirus were to abate, which we think that it may be doing right now, we're getting warmer weather, and at least it has been pushed off of the front page. If it would abate, would there be a natural recovery, as the president has said would happen in the third and fourth quarter?
I think that that's possible, Dan, but I think really if you really look at the bigger picture, our country has, we're in debt. And our GDP is shrinking. If you look at from today over the next 4 years, right? So I think we're in an election year right now. There's going to be a lot of political posturing, and there's going to be that element that's going to play a role from now to the end of the year. But if you look at this yearly over the next 4 years or over the next 8 years, we have a lot of things as a country that we have to deal with, especially if you look at Social Security. It's underfunded in 2020. And now with all the people going to be out of work, there'll be less people contributing. So there's a lot of macroeconomic components that need to be really looked at and considered. And then obviously you have the day-to-day with the stock market. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to unfold from now to the end of the year through the election.
But what do you think, Harry?
I think right now that there's going to be a little bit of a rally between now and the end of the year. I think that there's a really good chance of another correction. And then I think we're going to be dealing with the consequences in January.
So the consequences would be all of the money that we have loaned and all of the unemployment that is currently out there. People have to get back to work. I mean, we can't just keep paying people for being home. That's obvious. But do you think, I mean, I guess I should tell you what I think. It seems to me that there's going to be permanent job loss because people found economies of scale where you don't have to go into work and you don't have to travel as much. The travel industry is going to be way down. Is there any reason to feel optimistic that those will recover?
I don't think those are going to recover. I think you're going to see a lot of businesses just close down. I was just speaking to a business owner yesterday that was in business for 40 years. And he shut his doors and he's out of business.
What type of business?
Custom leather, works for various industries. He was up in Boston, and he was in business for 40 years, and he just shut his doors. And then of course you look at the restaurants. How can they possibly operate with maybe 25%, 50% capacity?
Yeah. I mean, entertainment and restaurants are such a vital part of our economy here. But again, I go back to this central question. NASDAQ is doing well today. The stock market in general has done well for the last 6 weeks, I would say, 5 or 6 weeks. Can you explain it at all?
Well, I think people in general right now are optimistic for the most part. You know, when the markets came down, people saw an opportunity, right? They wanted to get in while the markets were depressed. So they do have money flowing into the markets. They just have to be careful because when things drop out, people then, of course, take their money and they realize their losses. So I think right now people see opportunity still with the markets and some of the stocks they want to kind of, get in on. But they just have to also really be careful because, the economic factors that we are dealing with as a country are very real. So maybe there's a short term, people really, feel great about it. But, you get people that are thinking about retirement, looking at their assets, and they have to make big decisions right now. Do they stay in and participate, or do they kind of just maybe pull out and look at alternate strategies?
How about you? What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it's a smart move. I mean, I don't think that anybody right now, any potential gain between now and the end of the year, I don't think is really worth the risk. I mean, if they want to participate, they can kind of sit on the sidelines and wait and then make a decision maybe in January just to see what it looked like. The markets have come back, so they might as well take advantage of that, but they don't need to risk it anymore, in the short term.
Got it. And so you're kind of contrarian to everybody out there that has the blue sky up there, and they're painting it and saying that this remarkable recovery is going to last. I think what I'm hearing you say is that the money that we are spending right now, the bills are going to come due for this next year, and it could bode well, could bode badly for the economy. Let me ask you: do you think there's any place else in the world to put your money right now?
That's an interesting question. I do not see that as a viable opportunity for people to invest unless they're very, very sophisticated and have a real full understanding, of the political landscape worldwide. A lot of countries right now are operating with deficits themselves. So not only just the United States, but there's a lot of countries that are fairly large economies that are operating, and they have a shrinking GDP as well.
Doesn't make us feel any better because now we're part of a global downturn in the economy, and it seems that China is the only country that really hasn't been touched by, as much by their financial districts are not really touched by COVID-19. They don't seem to be incurring the racial strife that we're incurring right now. It's a scary time, Harry. Any final thoughts? Any counsel? I know you can't talk about, you folks are not allowed to talk about specific stocks, but is there any sectors that you do like right now?
Yeah, I think something that is a really good idea, and again, you want to take a look at, like you yourself as an investor, like what do you like, right? What do you use? What are some of the tools you use? So like if you're using, not to pick one over another, whether it's Uber or Lyft, you're depending on where you are, or if you like one particular company, it's nice to do business with the products and companies that you deal with. So wherever you shop or what you use online, because obviously it's a trend. And so if anybody's out there using certain technologies or certain companies or certain services, they can look into it and support that company or invest in that company, because they themselves are the biggest advocate.
Yeah. So if you're using some technology out there that you see your company that's using, it's becoming more popular, maybe a good clue for you. Well, Harry, it's good to meet you, and it's nice to get a different perspective from our local guys from time to time. And if you want to talk a little bit about your information, now'd be the time. Go ahead.
Well, great. We're located right over in New Jersey. We have 2 offices, and we work with a lot of local people, not only in New Jersey but across the country. Our website, www.abrahamsen-financial.com. Anybody's interested, they can reach out to us. And I really do appreciate the time today, Dan. I really appreciate it.
Oh, nice to meet you, Harry. Good luck to you, and pray for our country, and we will find our way through this thing. And of course, we have to be optimistic. We're probably in a position with our freedoms here to get things done more than other countries can. But again, if you want to reach out, the spelling you may not be familiar with, but it is abrahamsen, Harry Abrahamsen, Abrahamsen-Financial. He's the CEO, and hey, good to meet you, Harry, and best of luck to you, and we hope you folks recover well in New Jersey.
Thanks so much, Dan.
My pleasure. All right, a different perspective out there, one that's not so bullish, but again, the stock market's having a hell of a day again. 19 after 11 o'clock on 570 WKBN, the Dan Rivers Show. We are glad to have you along.